You cannot separate correctness from true morality either. That which is correct will lead you to that which is true. So lying will always eventually lead you to that which is false, and therefore eventually will lead you down the path of immorality and moral wrongful behavior, and immoral wrongful behavior. So that is why go deeper into an understanding of how lying, especially about anything truly important. You don't like your wife's souffle that she just made for you for your birthday because she thought you'd love it, and you go, that's a wonderful dish you just made. Okay, you're not giving her accurate information, and I'm not trying to excuse that and say it's great, go ahead and engage in that. Don't get my words twisted, right? But is that the equivalent of lying to someone about something as important as that we're doing this to protect you when we're taking your rights away? No, a lot more harm is going to result. You know, is that like lying about who actually performed the covert operation of 9/11? No, it's not the same. Look at the harm that resulted, the physical harm that resulted. So I'm going to recommend for you, Be Right or Go Wrong by Richard Wetherill. It's a cherry-picking operation for their agenda. And guess what? You have people even in the so-called truth community insisting, no, they lied to us about Iraq. They lied to us about 9/11. They lied to us about all of this other shit. But this one, they care about us and they're telling us the truth. Fucking naive children who don't know how it works and don't understand how the cult operates. Because, you know, deep down inside, you know what those people are? They never really got it. It's a shame. They brought their religion into the truth. I'm looking right at, a lot of people know who I'm talking about, and there's a lot of you. There's not one or two. There's like thousands of you. And I'm pointing right at you, and I'm talking right at you. At you. Not even to you at this point. I'm talking at you. You brought your religion into the truth, and it's not welcome. And you're going to suffer as a result. Not from my hands. You're going to suffer because you went down the path of falseness. You went down the path of deception. Your vision got clouded by fear. Punk little boy and girl. You got punked. You got bitched. You got played, son. You got played, little girl. Your ego's in the way. You can't admit it to yourself or anybody else. But you're punked, bitched, and played. And you're going to suffer as a result until you can admit you were wrong, and then maybe you'll go back on the path of truth and continue up the mountaintop. Other people listen to bullshit liars on the mainstream media, have no understanding, have done no actual accurate research themselves, and they have a bullshit worldview based on ill information, an ill-read, uninformed opinion. And a dumb dunce like that is not going to inform my well-informed, knowledgeable understanding with their bullshit, non-knowledgeable opinion. Your bullshit opinion based on your feelings is not as good as my hard-won knowledge that is meticulously weeded through with the trivium process. So you're not going to tell me I don't know what I know and you have a better understanding based on your bullshit opinion given to you by known liars that you've grafted onto and said, well, that's good enough for me because I'm a dumb shit for brains idiot. I had a way overly optimistic view of human beings and where their consciousness was at. I didn't know how deep into Satanism it had descended. I didn't know how deep into black-hearted ignorance and total lack of compassion for others it had descended. I didn't know how deeply it had descended into total egotism and Satanism. But that is where the human mind collectively is at. We are Satanists as a whole species of people. The mass adoption, the religion that has been largely mass adopted by the human species is de facto Satanism. And if you really look up what that term means, you can look it up from the Church of Satan's own writings and other satanic groups. De facto Satanism means people who practice the ideology of Satanism without even knowing that it is the ideology of Satanism. That is what a de facto Satanist is. A Satanist in deeds, in their behavior, that they live and think and behave in satanic mindset and do not even know what Satanism really is. They have this bullshit Hollywood definition of what Satanism is. They do not know what the actual ideology of Satanism is, what it practices, what it condones, and they have their mind ensconced in that ideology and don't even consciously know it. And therefore their behaviors are of the satanic ideology, yet they don't consciously realize it. That's called de facto Satanism, and it is the biggest worldwide religion.
Yep, definitely. I mean, I have Satanists in my own family. Sometimes I bring up these topics, and I bring it, for example, to my auntie, and she said, "Well, I don't really care about this. I only want to focus on my own life."
That's it. That's Satanism.
I
don't care the suffering that's going on in the world. I only give a shit about what happens to me and mine. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the definition of Satanism. I was a priest in this religion, a clergy of this religion, which is an officially recognized religion in the United States Charter of Religious Beliefs. Let me say that again. I am still to this day clergy. The Church of Satan never revoked my membership because my membership was actually under a pen name, an assumed name, Mark Rokar. I am Reverend Mark Rokar of the Church of Satan still to this day. They can look me up in their official records and excommunicate me if they wish. I never wrote to the Church of Satan and said, I, Mark Rokar, am no longer in a satanic mindset. Please officially excommunicate me from the Church of Satan. I just stopped communication with them. If they look in their own records, they will still see a Reverend Mark Rokar, and I will spell it Rhochar. That is how it is spelled. There it is, right there. I'm holding the fucking document in my hand, assholes. Addressed to Mark Rokar at my former public address. Okay, there is my membership card from the Church of Satan. Okay, it says underneath that, citizen of the Infernal Empire, then signature of bearer, Mark Rokar. This was membership card 100,261, which I'm assuming means that is how many memberships they gave out at that point. So you could see it's much larger than that now. I'm still official listed clergy of the Church of Satan. That is me, Mark Passio, satanic fucking assholes. Okay? You let this one get away. Okay? The Church of Satan is small fry potatoes in the big satanic hierarchical network. It's one little tiny little networked group that they pull people up and groom them into higher levels of the hierarchy. I was in a ritual home. It was a private dwelling, a private home in rural northern Maryland in a city called Whitehall. There were about, I'm going to say or guesstimate, 35 to 40 people in attendance in the entire house. Some of them were the owner, the actual family in the house. Some of them, most of them were people who came in from out of the area. Low upper class. I wouldn't say they were, super rich elitists at the top of the food chain of the financial structure, but they had considerable money and lived in a very nice home. As I recall, and I don't remember exactly what the goal or focus of the ritual was, but it was to get some type of legislation passed in the local area. They had point people in the local government, and they wanted to pass legislation and get it voted through in the council where they had people on that membership board or council board. Okay? That's what the ritual was for, to direct energy toward that goal, to direct intent and focus toward getting that goal accomplished. And then they go out into the real world and do it. Okay? So it's not just ritual magic. It's ritual magic combined with willpower to actually do it in the 3D domain as well, but then put the energetic focus behind it as winds in the sail of that ship. So, this is what a gathering of Satanists looks like. from one who has been there with them, namely me. That is me depicted in the foreground on the left when I was younger. Okay? Not too bad of a rendition. And this is really what it looked like, folks, as closely as my artist could draw it based upon my description. On the patio outside the door is that gentleman in the back wearing that little headset, okay? He has a gun on his hip, you know, pretty muscular, standing outside guarding the Satanic ritual home and ritual chamber. Inside, after the ritual concluded, we came up to this reception area that had outside of it these hexagonal windows that you could see out onto the patio area, and then there were all the cars parked out beyond this guard in the driveway area. He was guarding the place the whole time and did not participate in the ritual. This is a pretty good paraphrasing. If I don't get it exactly correct, it's a very accurate to the spirit of what he said, paraphrasing. Look at him out there, meaning the guard on the other side of the window, who was a Maryland cop, who was an active duty cop on a Maryland city police force. I do not know which city it was, but he was an active duty police officer, not in police clothing. He was in plain street clothes. They were either dark blue or black. I'm pretty sure they were black. Similar to what is depicted there, okay? And he was off duty at the time, a member of the grotto, a police officer, guarding the other Satanists on their request to guard them outside of the home. He was saying and laughing hilariously at this guy guarding the house. He said, look at him out there guarding us. He's one of our dogs, one of our pets. And I basically said, what do you mean? And he's like, there are animals, there are dogs, our pets. We own them all. And I'm like, who do you mean? What are you talking about? And he said, we own the police and military. We own them all of them throughout the world. We could call those shots. We conduct their behavior. Like a trainer of an animal tells the animal what to do, and because they're so well trained and so well indoctrinated into what the master wants, that they do it by rote. It's at the snap of a finger. He said they will sit when we tell them to sit. They will attack when we tell them to attack. They will kill. They kill when we tell them to kill. Just like the well-trained animals they are. This is who what your masters think of you, little children in the police and military. They are the owners of all the governments. They are the owners of all the religions. They are the owners of all the media. They are the owners of all the secret societies. They are the owners of all the police, all the military, all the education systems, all the publishing houses, all the financial institutions, all the banks, all the central banks, all the think tanks. You could go on and on and on. They're the masters and owners of that entire infrastructure of the world. You want to think that that's untrue? Go ahead and think whatever the fuck you want. That'll never make that statement that I just made untrue, and it will never make it untrue that they own the police and military and think of them like this. From their lips to my ears. This isn't a secondhand account. I was in the room with them. If you don't accept that or believe that, fuck you. And here's what he sounded like. He then did a huge belly laugh after saying this about the very person doing his bidding outside on the patio guarding him. Here's the belly laugh. Let's see if this comes through. Okay, I was monitoring that in my headphones. That is almost identical, especially the last one at the end, where he was almost gagging. You could hear he couldn't barely even get the air out because he was laughing so hard. Like when you laugh so hysterically at something that all the breath and wind leaves your lungs. That is almost identical in that last part to what he actually sounded like, how he was maniacally laughing at this off-duty cop doing his bidding. That is what they think of you, you rat punks in the military and police. You're a tool. You're a child. You're a naive little child. You're an order-following child. You're immoral trash who probably had immoral trash as parents. And guess what? I'm not going to be light on you. I'm not going to tell you, oh, it's no fault of your own. It's your fault for not dealing with your trauma or your reasons for self-loathing and self-hatred. It's not anybody's fault but your own that you do the biddings of psychopaths like this. It's your fault. You are responsible for your continued immoral behavior in doing the bidding of Satanists who own and control the organizations at the highest level that you are a willing member of. You are in a cult, whether you understand that or not. That is the eternal objective truth of the matter. If you do not accept that, your ego is in the way, and or you are a naive child who does not have the facts at your disposal.